I have to adapt all the standards to my personal needs, to my soul needs. I shouldn't depend on something external because it's not in my power to change. So I have to focus on myself and develop a beautiful relationship with whatever external so I can be at peace with myself. And that is a path towards winning in life, right? Welcome back, my friends. Today we have such a beautiful topic to talk about. A reminder that you're about to win in life. So, my friends, every single day we're coming out with few reminders, with some guidance and some truth, right? So we can recognize, okay, what if everything that feels uncomfortable right now as whatever I'm moving through, what if actually I just have to push through this? What if actually I am on a path that is revealing to me everything that I have to know? And rather than attaching myself to what I want to achieve, I will try to enjoy a little bit more in the process of getting there. So I can take the energy I've placed on the finish line back to myself and I use it for enjoyment, for building the skills, for pushing myself through this period, because it may not be easy. Whatever you are going through right now, it may not be easy. But as I'm seeing, I'm seeing so many wonderful comments in the comment section. Like, yesterday I was reading and there was so many people writing how much your lives are changing in a positive way, and I was like, well, I think never before there was so many transformations happening. Never before people were so conscious around what is actually changing in their lives. And just one comment, I actually saved it because it was so interesting and so amazing. It was like, my personal growth was awakening out of childhood conditioning and recognizing that in others. It was a very challenging life lesson, a journey into psychology. So it is a common pattern that we start recognizing our traumas, we start recognizing, what we've been through and how it affected us in the present moment. So we may have certain setbacks, we may have certain fears, we may have certain needs to be recognized or to be validated by others or whatever. We start noticing those patterns. It's actually something I've shared with you yesterday as we were talking about dimensions a little bit, dimensions of our consciousness, and how every time we expand ourselves through understanding and awareness, we start looking on things a bit differently. But then the second part of the comment was my spiritual awakening was a much lighter experience knowing who I am. I'm not the personality that was made. I'm the watcher of my human impulses. The power to stop thinking is the gift living in fifth dimensional consciousness. So you can explain this however you want, but what is meant here is that the most beautiful power awakens within you once you recognize that you are not all that conditioning, you are the observer of that, and therefore you can look at whatever you've been through and make the best out of what you've learned and kinda navigate yourself through life into the direction that is the most meaningful for you. That's how you will win in life, because to win in life, it's just a sensation. Winning is a pleasant sensation that we did something well. And winning has many different meanings for many different people. Like, for somebody it's being first on a competition, sure. But for somebody else is like getting through the day, not giving up on something that is important to you, and it is already a win. So once we start recognizing, okay, if every single day I follow the order that is giving me the highest possible fulfillment, then I'm winning in life, right? If every single day I can plug myself to the sensation of abundance, then it's already winning in life. If every single day I do at least one thing that awakens joy in my life, then I'm winning because I'm rising, I'm doing something I've never done before, I'm getting better at things I've actually been afraid to try in the past, and that's a win. And those are all signs that you are winning in life. So this comment was actually really beautiful because it explains the pattern that is happening to many people right now. Many people are going through this, but most people don't actually notice what's happening. Because still to me it happens sometimes. I go out and I'm wondering, like, are people really ignoring what's happening on the world right now? Are people really that ignorant? Because information is out and ignorance is really a choice. And we are only ignorant about or around what is helpful, what may be helpful, what may be meaningful, if we are too attached to certain ideas that may not be even real. And people believe all kinds of stuff. And we have to remind ourselves that we are constantly checking our beliefs, that we're constantly recognizing, is this what am I believing still helpful for me? And in all the fields, we have to be reminded, like, is this still helpful for me? Does it still help me grow? Does it still help me to evolve into a version of myself I want to become? Because sometimes, you know, for example, on this YouTube journey, if you're building any kind of a page because you want to share something there, at some point you may get caught up in algorithms. We all do, because you notice, okay, this is how this system works, this is how this platform works, and there are algorithms in the background. And you may get caught up like, oh, it's algorithms' fault that my content is not growing. And it's already a belief. And if we hold too strongly to that belief, we may feel like we don't have control over it, like we have to adapt ourselves to the way that algorithms will like us. And then people do all kinds of stuff for that. And I've noticed on my journey, it started happening to me as well in the past. So we have to be conscious around this to recognize, okay, if I want to win here, I have to be myself. I have to adapt all the standards to my personal needs, to my soul needs. I shouldn't depend on something external because it's not in my power to change. So I have to focus on myself and develop a beautiful relationship with whatever external, so I can be at peace with myself. And that is a path towards winning in life, right? So I've noticed, well, what if actually I would focus on my growth, I would focus on learning, I would focus on expansion, and then my work can be a reflection of that. And we start doing more of that, and we start learning in all kinds of directions. Like, if you're a person that really loves to learn, you will notice, well, you don't just want to learn about certain subjects, you also want to learn how you're presenting them, how to maybe improve that work, how to, work on your expression, how to develop your language. Like for me, English is my second language, so I needed to learn this language. And I was never good at languages, but I've noticed, well, I have a gift of learning. And guess what? We all have it. So, my friends, when we start looking on everything like that, like, I have a gift of learning. If I don't like this, let's see what I have to learn to move through it, to find, new steps, to find new, actually, stairs. Because if you're studying nature, you will notice that nature is all about transcendence. It is not moving on linear way. That's why everything is growing upwards. Have you noticed that? If everything would be linear, then all you would see is just a side towards somewhere. But trees and everything is growing upwards, and it's already a sign of transcendence, because transcendence only happens upwards, and if it doesn't transcend, it dies and goes downwards. Like, I don't know what's the English word, but it starts collapsing, falling apart, and eventually disappears. I don't know what's the word, but you know what I mean. So, as we observe the nature, we recognize, well, if everything is about transcendence, then what if it's the whole plan? The whole plan of your evolution is transcend yourself, which means to use what you've learned and let go of what doesn't support your growth anymore. So we are constantly peeling off the layers of ourselves like an onion, and as the byproduct we are getting more pure, more pure, more pure, until we become true selves. In palm tree, you can notice this as the tree is getting thinner and thinner, and all these layers of branches are eventually they look just as layers that, as something opened and a new part of it grows through it. And at some point it opens up, a new part grows through it. This is the symbol of transcendence. Transcendence happens through the upward spiral. And this is the concept of winning. Winning is moving through another cycle and getting wiser on the other side of it, right? Becoming wiser on the other side of it. And as Socrates said, wisdom starts in wonder. We have to wonder a little bit. We have to, slow down and wonder, okay, if I don't like this right now, okay, if this looks challenging, what if it is challenging only because I've made it hard in my mind? I've made it unacceptable in my mind. I've made it hard to be understood in my mind. But if I would meditate on it, things may get clear much easier. And that's the path towards winning once again. You're a winner. If you're meditating on things that are heavy, and in meditation you recognize, well, oh, I just needed to notice that, you're winning because you're not working hard anymore. Now you're working smart. You've been born with all the tools. You've been born with all the wisdom. You've been born with the native guidance that is... We have such a beautiful flow today, isn't that? You've been born with that native guidance that is speaking gently to you, but only those who are willingly listening to it. It's gentleness. It's really gentle. What we call intuition, it's a gentle sensation that carries information in it. Only those who are transcending can connect with their intuition because they're peeling off the layers that are blocking it, right? And layers are false ideas, false beliefs that are awakening for false fear and shame and guilt and sense of separation and so on. And as you're peeling off those layers of false identity, you recognize what this beautiful person wrote, that my spiritual awakening was much lighter experience knowing who I am. I'm not the personality that was made. I'm the watcher of my human impulses. And this is such an incredible, profound realization that may happen to many of us. And if you have experienced that, you're a winner. And you may not feel like that because you're saying, well, I still haven't manifested what I wanted. I still feel challenged by life. I still feel blocked. I still feel shame. I still feel fear. I still feel sometimes hold back. I still feel like my life is not going my way. Well, my friend, it's all going into the right direction. As long as your awareness of yourself is increasing, you will be able to make the right decisions, and the right decisions will get you the right results. So manifestation has many missing links in between, because we think that things should just appear. I've made a video about frequencies, like your desires are actually your frequency, the frequencies. They are on certain frequencies. You can go and check it out. It's quite amazing actually. So in that video, I'm talking about raising your energy and noticing how something feels like, recognizing what's your present vibration, what it feels like, and how to raise it. And actually raising of the vibration is nothing like raising it, it's more like letting go of ideas that are pulling you down, that are making you being stuck in fear. And through visualization of something, you recognize, well, if I visualize it, I feel grateful. Why are you not grateful already? Because a blind person, if a blind person would see, that person would start crying immediately because of the gift of sight. But you have that gift and you're not appreciating it. Why? Because all those ideas are blinding your mind from not seeing your natural gifts that you could use to make what you want to experience possible in this present time. And those are real stories that are just, we are often not reminded of them. We all know that. I'm not sharing nothing new here, you know that. But at the same time, you know that you need to hear it because you forget it. Because we've been so programmed and so hypnotized to be in victim mentality. So we would constantly focus on what is wrong and what is missing. So we would fight with one another. And when we get together with friends, we would judge one another rather than exchanging ideas, right? And we have to understand that if we want to notice what's the missing link for the manifestation to occur, we firstly need to go beyond this victimhood mentality, and we start noticing that to get from point A to point B, we need to build a bridge, right? We need to build a bridge. And what does it mean? Well, if you're here and you have an idea, well, I want to be a millionaire or whatever it is, you have that wonderful idea. And then there's already you with $1 million or euros or whatever you wish. And you with an idea have to recognize what that future you has done in his or her life, that he or she made it possible, right? And you with an idea here need to meditate, okay, what can I do tomorrow? What can I start doing tomorrow? Or maybe even today that can bring me tomorrow one step closer to this future version of myself. And as you ask this question, you know, in the quantum universe, everything is happening simultaneously, which means that past and future are all happening in the mind, in the present moment. So what's the beauty of that is that when you ask yourself what I have to do, that part of you will give you an intuitive insight. Open up that online store, or call that person, or go on that gathering, or whatever. And of course, because it's something new, it awakens fear, and most people say, oh, I'm afraid of that, so I guess it's not for me. And they close down and go and live their normal lives. So that's what's happening. But fear was triggered because of something new, and we are afraid of what we don't understand. So fear is nothing else but your reminder that you have to expand your knowledge around what you're afraid of. That's, you know, what's the plan of the fear is to keep you in ignorance and therefore you will be afraid forever. But once a person acknowledges himself or herself, fear slowly dissolves, because you understand things, you can connect the dots, and you recognize, okay, if I want to have this, I need to do this and that and that, and I will get there. That's why everyone who was in his or her life rich, for example, this is just an example, and was rich because he or she did something by him or herself, doesn't matter what happens to that person will be able to build that thing once again, because is able to recognize the patterns. So the reading of the patterns is a path towards winning. And as we said, winning is noticing that we're living great lives, right? And great lives are not somewhere in the future, because the future actually doesn't exist. Great life is when you acknowledge yourself that you've been born for greatness, and your job is to become more aware of everything you've been told that is not supporting that story, and peel it off. And that's how you will win in your life, my friend. And actually, you're already you're already a winner. So tap yourself like this. Be proud of yourself. Be your own supporter, my friend. Because I know people who sometimes you would like to be supported by somebody. Sometimes you would like that somebody would come to you and say, hey, you're doing a great thing. I want to remind you to be that person for yourself. Because most people are focused on themselves, and most people will never notice what you've done in your life. That's why you shouldn't focus on recognition, and you shouldn't focus on approval, and you shouldn't focus on getting the support from others. Because at the first place, you have to be that celebration guy for yourself. You have to be that source of support for yourself first. And when the time is right, you will meet the right people that will come together and will build that coherent community of mastermind, where you will start brainstorming greater ideas that will be bigger and even more helpful for the world and this wonderful society that is emerging into something new that we're all visualizing about. And my friends, this is it for today. I hope you found something valuable. I hope you've enjoyed in today's message. And I want to remind you, we're still running a sale on our Etsy shop, where you can find my art, prints of my art, some of the original paintings. Go and check it out. 15 off to all of my art. So my friends, check it out. Until next time, stay beautiful, stay creative, stay magnificent as you are, and keep wandering. Keep wandering until ideas enlighten you, wisdom enlightens you. My friends, one love.